Okay, looks like I've got some sound, and what we're going to do now, this is a pre-recording for Wednesday, which would be March the 28th. Of course, this is for business BISS 1123 section B. All right, let's scroll down and just do some of the logistics of where we are. Okay, and we're now at week 8. Of course, last week was no case. We had no classes with spring break. And if we take a look here, we're going to see that on week 8, we've got a couple of things due. XLS 8, which you already should have uploaded, is due. So is XLS 9. Okay. And the quiz, the few text quiz for chapter 11 and 12. Notice that these are due on the 29th. Okay, which means they're due before Easter, Good Friday, which is the 30th. I have also, again, as I said before, we have I have some links over here, resources about business intelligence, the return on investment that we get from analytics, which is what we're learning about, and Easy Excel, their help and tutoring on regression. And so we're ready to move on. Now, I'm going to go up to the announcements area, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, on Monday, we worked on case number 2, all right? I'm pretty sure that what we did is we worked on case 2, and so that was case number 2. That was Hudson Palmer. So we're starting on case number 3, okay? And we'll go back down here to the modules. And you should have uploaded the file for Access Database Case 2. And and also, in case you didn't, or you have other files, I'll show you. Here's this would work, ACC2 ADB. I have also, let's see, access case. I'll find the second access case, and I uploaded one, I thought, on Monday. Here's Hunter Palmer. That's one that we can do. You can utilize. And I could just swear that I had done. I uploaded the case on access to. I'm going to have to go look at that because I could have just swore that I did that. Anyway, it just doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to go over to the files section, and we're going to go down here, and we're going to take a look at basically what the authors said was a solution to case number 3, and that's going to be in the well, there's a Hudson Palmer. Okay, and what's basically the Solvent Student 6 files, solution files, and we'll download that, and that will show us. Okay, and we're working today on Abraxas office furniture, and what they considered. Okay, what they considered a completed task. Now, I want to open this up for a minute, and there's a lot of information missing here that they don't have. Okay, and the case has 5 tasks. All right. Now, Abraxas office furniture, they're assemblers. They assemble office furniture, And as you read through the problem, and you need to be looking at the Solve It 6.0 student textbook, when you look there, you'll see they have, at the bottom of page 163, they start to show you a materials bill. In fact, this course is about an automated bill of materials. And they start to tell you all of these parts that are used for each of these brands of table. And the brands of table are up here, okay? And here you can open this up and you can see it. They're Empire, Classic, Moderna, and Craftsman. All right? So I'm going to close this off. And again, that's kind of a skeleton file, if you will. All right, and I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to find an Abrexis file that has that I've gotten completed. Let's see what we got. Here we go. This one, this is ACCDB3 done. Okay, and well, I've got the Abrexis import data, so that's an excellent. Let's go ahead and we'll try it. We'll go back down to that file and we'll mess with this some, because we're going to have to do some fancy footwork in part as we work this through. Let's go back down, and I apologize. We'll get the Solve It 6.0 student zip files, the solution files. All right, we'll open that zip file up. Okay, and come down here to Abrexis. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click Enable Content, and then I'm going to click Save As, and I'm going to call this Abrexis Harmon Keith. Okay, I'll put that on the I'm going to put that on the desktop in my computer, and I'll download it. And now we can enable the content, and now we can do some work. Now, at the bottom of page 183, as I told you, they start to give you all of these different parts that you have with each of these models of a desk. I believe these are desks that they make, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see here's the part name, okay, the part code, and for example, 24 of these are needed for the Empire, 24 for Classic, 16 for Moderna. We have the units in stock, okay, and we have the unit costs. Now, as we come down to the bottom of 183 to the top of 184, they continue this barrage of information telling you, yeah, the part for each one of these. Products. And this is why we want to have an automated bill of material, so we know what we're dealing with. Now, I have a resource or two over here. I want to go back for a moment and go back to the modules, okay? And I want to scroll down here. Now, let me say this also. If you come into the welcome area, you may find some completed files. Those are fair game as well to use, to upload. The important thing is to get the credit for the workshop. Okay, here's Abrexis as of 4/22/14. You can see I've tweaked these over the years, and you see this. You've already figured that out with all of these different files I've loaded over here. There's the access solution files. Of course, here's Hudson Palmer's import, the Abrexis import, expressions for Abrexis. So, we've got some resources there if we need them, and we're going to find those in the over there in the files or over here. And in fact, you'll also find a recording for access case number 3. You can go over and take a look at it. Well, they talk about these folks are assemblers. They also manufacture tops and legs, and they purchase the struts and various other parts from other vendors. So they're what we would call an assembler. we're in a company involves engaged in assembly of components. Now, they want the bill of materials, and that's supposedly a surprise given to us in the Solvent database. So that's what we have here, and we'll open it back up. Okay, now this is our basic table, and as you know, the past week or so, we've been really focusing on building the tables properly. Okay, so let's take a dive down in this table, and let's look at it, and we can see that we have the part code, and I'm going to change the part code, okay, to an auto number. And I'm going to make it, required. It'd be stupid not to. So we're building the table a little bit. And I'm going to make this my primary key. I'm going to click here on the part code, click the primary key, and now it is my primary key. Okay. And it's required, and we might have made a bad tactical decision here, and here's the reason. We may need to have multiple part codes listed in a bill, but we're not going to have them duplicated because they're all unique. So we're good to go at this point in time, okay? And so we'll put yes, no duplicate. So we'll go to the part name, and we might make sure it's required. Again, we're doing some table building. Empire, it's not required because we may not have to use it. Classic is the same story. Moderna, the same story. Craftsman, and the units in stock, that's a number, and the unit cost is a, is what it is. It's in currency. So we're going to make our changes to the table. We'll click yes. All right. Now, we're going to do something, and I just want, again, to make things easy for us. Okay, we're gonna create. We really do need here to create lookup tables. Okay, and we really do need to do that. And it's a pretty simple thing. We can just simply run a query. And so we'll do this. We'll click Create. And we'll go to Query Design. And we're going to add the Abraxas table. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, and we're going to use this query, I'm going to get the part code and the part name. All right, and this will give us the part code, the part name, and what I'm debating about is, would I want to go ahead and put in the number of parts, okay, so that as we enter these in a bill or something, we're in good shape. All right. The part code is going to give us everything that we need. And let's just look at this for a minute. And let's look at it for a second, see what we got. Yeah, here's the part name, the part code. All right. And let's just go ahead and save this. And we're going to call it parts lookup. Okay. Now we're going to close this. Now I'm going to come back to the Abraxas table, and I'm going to open it up. You said, boy, we're doing a whole lot of creating drop-down menus. Here's the point. I'm not trying to make you an expert in creating lookup tables. What I'm telling you is I'm showing you good practices to make best practices, really, to make sure that the data you have are valid, that they're entered as they should be, that they're accurate. Okay, that's the best thing that I can think of. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go down on the Abraxas table, and we're going to go down to the design view. All right, and on that part code, okay, I'm going to do a lookup, and this is going to be a combo box. I've been doing this. Okay, and the row source, I'll come over here, a little three, the little blue dot, a little blue button, excuse me, with the 3 dots. And we're going to go over to queries, and we're going to do parts lookup. We're going to add that. Huh, that's being strange. Let's back out of this for a second. I want a row source. That is weird. Why it's not doing that for us? No, how strange. I'm wondering if what it has to do with is this thing. Well, let me shut this back down, and I'm going to open it back up for a minute because it's been kind of uncooperative with me. And I'm going to open it back up, go to design view, and let's do a lookup for the part code. Let's see if we can do that. It may be because it's a primary key. There's the combo box. I'll find the row source. That's really strange. It won't do that for me. Okay. I'm going to go back over here to the part code in the general, and I'm going to do this. Let's get rid of the primary key. All right. Now I'm going to do the lookup table. And now I'm going to come up here for part code, and I'm going to do lookup. And let's see if that was the problem. And it's supposed to let us work with a query, but it won't. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's try part 9. And let's do a lookup for it. That is really strange. We'll do a combo box and the row source. And we may have to go back and why wouldn't add the query? Well, it's not, the query builder in this is not operating properly. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to punt, and I'm going to close this off for a second, this table. No, the changes. And I'm going to take parts lookup, and I'm going to click Make Table. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. And let's see if it'll make that table for us. Okay, good enough. The problem that we're running into, and we're not supposed to, but we did, is this. And I'm just going to close this off now. Okay, now I have parts lookup, and it's a table. All right. I think what was happening was over here, and I'm going to close the parts lookup for just a minute, parts lookup for a minute. Okay, and let's go back to Abraxas. And I think the problem that I was running into is one of two, maybe three. One, it was not going to let me run the query builder there. Or number two, because the part code was a primary key, it was going to play naughty with me. And so let's go back down here to the design view. And like I said, you know, this is why sometimes I run to these kinds of things. And I'm on the part code, and let's try this. I'm going to do the lookup. I'm going to do the combo box, the row source. Now I'm going to try the parts lookup table. There it is. And I'm going to get the part code and the part name. And I'm going to run it. And there it is. Okay. So that was that was the issue. It just wasn't going to let me run use Query Builder on a query. I don't know. Who knows? It might be a glitch in my software. But the thing was, what we did was we went back and we created a table called parts lookup, and we can create tables using a query. Okay, and you know, I'm going to show you. I'll just show you again so that you can see for yourself. I'll close this up. We'll save the changes. I'm going to click Create. I'm going to go to Query Design, and I'm going to add Abraxas. Wait a minute here. Okay, and I'm going to choose everything in Abraxas. Okay, and I'm going to click Make Table. And we'll see how that works. Okay, we're recording again. I had to pause it. We're back sharing, and you should be able to see everything. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to pause the share, and then I'm going to resume it. And there we are. Okay, now we're gonna make a table. All right, and we've got everything here, and we're going to run the table. We're going to run. That's a nice run the table. I click Run. It says you're about to paste 15 rows into a new table because we have 15 records. Good. And there it is, Abraxas case 3. Okay. Copy. And do I want to say that? No. I don't want to. And there's the back, and there's the copy. Now you say, why couldn't I just go ahead and just click on copy, then paste, and get rid of whatever I want to? That's fine. But I did want to show you how we can do it. And I don't think I need to, you know, I'm going to get rid of that because I don't really need it. I don't think it's incumbent upon me to do 5 of these, but you can see the drop-down menu, okay? And this is the parts code, and here, oh, I forgot. I go back down to design view and go into the lookup, I always do this. I get ahead of myself. I'm going to do the column count is 2, okay? And the column widths are going to be 2 inches, semicolon, 2 inches, okay? And I'll go back up to the table, ask me to save it. We'll save it. Now I'm ready, and I'm probably going to have to smudge this over a bit, but as you can see, with this complicated a set of products we've got here, you're going to use you're going to want to use the part code. Okay. Now I'm going to do it for part name as well, because this is another one of these. All right, where we need to know where we've got to have these and make sure we've got the correct numbers and all that business. And this is Abraxas, all right. And so we have the part code, and I want to create and I'm going to rename this part code lookup. Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to want to do is I'm going to open up Abraxas, and pardon me, I'm going to click Query Design. Okay. And I'm going to choose Abraxas. And this time I'm going to put the part name first, then the part code. Okay. And I'm going to run it. Oh, I don't want, let's get rid of this. No. Okay. I'm going to click Query Design. I'm going to get Abraxas. Okay. And I'm going to get the part name this time, then the part code. I'm going to click Create Table. That was my mistake. And the table name for this will be part name lookup. Okay. Okay with that. And we'll run it. And we have our table. And we'll close this off. We don't need to save it. So now I have Abraxas, and I'm going to come back to Abraxas to the table. I'm going to go to Design View, and I have the lookup already set in place for the part code, so I'm going to do the same thing for the part name, because we've done that for code. And we're going to choose a combo box, and the row source, and I'm going to get the part name lookup, and I'm going to add it, and I'll have the part name, then the part code. I'm running it, so it looks like good, beautiful. Close that, yes. Now we're going to come in here and you need to go to the column count. I'm going to do 2. All right. The column widths will be 2 inch, semicolon 2 inch. And we'll go up top and say the table, yes. Now, as we look on the part name, okay, you'll see we've got the part name, and we just choose it. And I've got to find A3745, so it's a 3-inch leg. And here I've got oh, what are you doing to me here? I'm going down to design value because I'm getting some weirdness here. and I don't know why. So back down to the design level, the part name. Okay. Okay. Let's go down to the design view. And on part code, first thing we're going to do is take the primary key off of it. Now let's go back up here and see if it'll work now since we've taken it off the primary key. No? All right. Oh, this is one of those days, isn't it? I'm on the part code. And I'm going to click over here. Huh. Ah, I see what I'm doing. Okay, let's go up top here. The part code. All right, let's click here. And go down to the design view. So let's go back to the part code. All right, and we've got the row source, and we're going to go back here. I'll add the part code lookup. We'll put in the part code, the part name. We're going to run it. And we're good. We'll save it. Let's go up top, save the table. There we are. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what I was doing. I was glibbing around. I probably can't chew gum and talk. But now, the nice thing is that you have this drop-down menu, okay? And you can see what the code is. The same story is over here. You know what the part name is. And once you've got it, then you can just squeeze this on back down, toggle it down to where you can see all of your fields, everything on the machine. Now we're going to do something else here. We'll close this off. We're going to save it. Yes. And we're going to make a form. Okay. We're going to create a form again because again, forms most of the time, we're doing a split form. People are creating a form, are interacting with the database through a form. That's about 99% of the time. So we've got this split form here, as we talked about the other day. I can search free text. I can add a new record. I can navigate, etc. So I've got this form, and the nice thing is if I add a new record in and put the data in, okay, then it will change the table. So I've got a nice form here, and we're going to save it, and we'll call it Abraxas. The form name will be Abraxas. Okay. So we've done some nice stuff at this point in time. Now, we've done a little work with it, and let's go back up here one more time and look at the Abraxas case 3. Is there anywhere else we would need? Now, what we could do would be to create a lookup table for each of these models in terms of the number of items they need. Okay, and it probably would be better to do a, it would probably be better to do to build a lookup on, see, I guess you could you'd have to create a table of component requirement or model requirements. All right, and you'd have a lookup for each one of those. Okay. The truth is, you also have this form to add records. Okay. And we could do that. Let's go ahead and let's do a query design. And I'm going to do the Abrexis table. I'll close that, and I'm going to put in here. We could do a lookup. The best thing would be to do a lookup table on the components for each. Let's go ahead and just put in well, really, you'd want to do a lookup for every one of these. So I'm going to put the part code, the part name, and then I'm going to put Empire. All right. And I'm going to run this. And now this will show me per, and I'm going to call this, now I've got this query here, and I'm going to save it. Okay. I'm going to save it as Empire we call this Empire component Empire component needed. Empire component needed. Okay. And we've got that. We had some trouble with this when let's close this case through. Let's come over here and let's go to design view and let's select make a table. And that table name will be Empire Empire number of parts needed. Not very fancy, but yeah, it'll work. Okay. And let's close this off. And then we'll look at this, the Empire parts needed. And we're going to open that up, and there we are. So now look, we could, we'll go back to the Abrexis case 3. We could do the same thing for Classic, Moderna, and Craftsman. Okay. We could do it, you know, for each of these, the Classic, the Moderna, and the Craftsman. So we know, all right, how many are required. Okay. Now those numbers are really fixed, and the truth is, I don't know, you know, how if these are set, and let me show you something. These are what we call slowly changing dimensions. So you'd hear the hesitancy in my voice in wondering whether or not we really need, that lookup table. So I'm going to close this off. We got the ones I think that counted, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that because we don't need it. So you've seen enough of data integrity or validity where we're using drop-down menus, requirements, etc., to make it work. Now, at this point, we're ready to kind of dive into the tasks, and they have several. And the first one is let's see, and they have some. Let's go back up here for a minute. And they tell us about the coding system that they have. And so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to do one more. Well, the part codes, the first letter in the part code coincides to the vendor. So we know that. All right, there in task number 1, this is page 184. They tell us to add the new parts, quantities needed, the other for the bolts, etc. Note, and they tell us to note these are coded. All right, and they want us to, run a report that tells us what we've got in terms of materials. And if you see down here in the report, here's the Harney materials report. Okay. Now we can go into the layout view, and you can see down here we got a total and so forth. So I'm not going to mess with the report that much. You know how I am about reports. Okay. Now and he wants. Now this is into question number 2. The total dollar value of the investment in the parts. Well, let's look at task number 2, and we're going to deconstruct it. Now that we've done enough work with this, we can kind of see how it's put together. All right, and let's do that. All right, we have some fields over here called valued inventory, and we have the Craftsman cost, the Moderna cost, the Classic cost, Empire cost. We have the units in stock. We have the unit cost, okay? And we've got the part name, all right? So we know they'd ask us to show us how much we have total, how much we have here, all right? And they go through this, this is task number 2. They want to know the material costs in each product type so they can more easily set appropriate prices. Okay, and let's see, those products, it can't remember know the total dollar value of each component type, and so they're all about that. Now, this is one of those cases, okay, where part of me says I would be really pretty smart to export Abraxas over and get the data that I need. Okay, let's go down into the design view, and see what we're looking at. And you're going to start to see where I've said, you've heard me say it many, many times, let a database be a database, let a spreadsheet be a spreadsheet. Okay, I'll pull this out some more so we can see it better. Now I'm going to come to this first one. Now this is where we got the Empire cost. And this is the problem. If I have to write a bunch of expressions, I can end up doing a whole lot of work just to get simplistic data when I could probably just go ahead, throw it out into Excel. We did this the other day. Do the math that I need to do, okay, and ship it back and import it back into the database. Okay, the authors though wanted to see this, so this is how we get the empire. We call this an expression. This is the empire cost, colon, and then we put empire, that's the field, in brackets. Then we multiply it times the unit cost in brackets. And we're going to see this in each one of these. I'll come over here and we'll take the classic. Same story here. This can become very time consuming. Whereas you say, man, I could just throw those in Excel, do the cell drag and drop and be done with it. Exactly. Okay. But it's good that you see these so you understand, what we've got. And then finally, the the granddaddy of them all is the units of stock. Okay. And that's the value in inventory. The truth is, though, that's just the value of inventory, okay, for each part. We'll see this monster. Units in stock times the unit cost, that's the dollar value, okay? And we have, look at that, we'll go back upstairs. And we have the empire cost. Now, if you were to say I need the total for empire, I can click down here, all right, and I can go back over to home, all right, and I want to find an auto sum here, and there are totals. And it gives us the sum. Do the same thing here. We can do the sum. Now I can do this on the fly, okay? And I've got task number 2. Now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to say the changes yes, and then I'm going to come back in and see if that held up. We'll open it back up, and it did. Good. Okay. So task 2. Now, one of the apparently the folks of Microsoft have decided to let us do that kind of work in here. So we've got task 2. We know how much money we have tied up in each part. We know how much money we have in parts tied up in each model. Okay. And then we have the total dollar value inventory, the total dollars in inventory. So we're in good shape, okay? And that's task number 2. And we've got a report that will meet all of their needs. All right, now I'm going to close this off for just a second. We'll save this. Now I'm going to go back over here, and here's a Moderna cost report. We'll open it up in report, and you can see, it has what we need and gives us our totals. Okay. Now I'm going to close this for a second, and let's go back up here to this empire component needed. It was just, let's get rid of it. We don't need that. But I just wanted to show you, doing a lookup. Okay. Now, task 3, and this is over at the top of page 185 in the Solve It textbook. Pardon me. Number 3 is at the bottom of page 184. And this is Harney Corporation, and they have their valued customer, and they've ordered tables for their new Provo office. They require 5 Winston and 38 Sterling tables, and they want a detailed materials report on the amount held and requirement for this order, throwing the number of each component required for each of the 2 products ordered, a total components required field, and the amount held in inventory. Okay, so Haney wants, they want 5 Winston and 38 Sterling tables. So here's what we're going to do. And we're going to come down here, and this is task number 3. Okay, and we're going to open it up. Now let's look at this for just a second. Okay, now what we're trying to ascertain, here's what we have. We have Empire, okay, and they need they're going to create 5 Winston and 38 Sterling tables. So why they put Empire in there and Moderna makes absolutely no sense to me. 5 Winston and 38 Sterling tables. Well, let's go down to the design view, okay, and take a look at this for just a minute. Now, I'm going to take this code copied here. I'm come in here where I can see what I'm doing. The total parts are the Empire parts plus mod parts, okay? And then I'm going to take this because I'm going to have to write some new expressions. Okay? It's the, they want 5 Winston and 38 Sterlings. So we're going to have to change that to Winston and to Sterling. Okay. And let's call this, we're going to put this will be Winston is going to be, and we're going to call this Win parts, and it'll be Winston I5. This will be Empire parts, EMP parts, and that'll be Empire. Pardon me, that'll be Sterling. Okay, and that will be I almost made a mistake there. Parts, Sterling, and Win parts. This will be Stir parts. All righty. Now I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to start with the Sterling parts. And then I'm going to do the Win parts. Okay. And then I'll do this last one. The total parts needed for the order, stir parts plus win parts. And let's see if we're good to go. Okay, let me go to the Abraxas table for a minute. All right. Well, there's a bit of a discrepancy here in the book. It says they want 5 Winston and 38 Sterling tables, but they don't have the Sterling data, or do they tell us? Do they give it to us to put in there? And that's what's missing here are the Winston parts, which we need to put in. We would have to put in, and also the Sterling. So they've not added those 2 parts. So let's close this off, and we'll close this. I don't want to save any changes, but I want to show you what we would do if we had Sterling and Moderna. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to show us the order, okay, for task 3. And what the authors are going to have us do inputs, and I'm not going to waste your time inputting data. All right, here's task 3, and we have the part code, then we have the name of the part, then the number of parts required for Empire, okay, and the number of parts required from Moderna, and the total parts required, and what we have in stock. Now, we didn't do Winston and the Winston Sterling models, we didn't do those. Now, what we could do would be to change, or really what we'd have to do is add those in. And I don't know that it's not going to be any different. Let me just show you. Okay, there's no point in going through all that. I'll just show you what we got going on here. If we had Sterling as a model, then the total parts required for Sterling would be stir parts Sterling times 38. Okay, and if we had Winston as a product line in here, which we don't, we'd have basically Winston times 5. And then the total parts required for the order would be stir parts plus win parts. So it doesn't, this can be Empire or Moderna, but what we didn't do is do just a bunch of grunt input when we've already got the model to work from. So you can see if I have whatever fields of models I put in there, I just put those in. So let's go down to the design view and look at this. And you'll see that. Okay, and we see the total parts required for the order, the units in stock. We'll go back up here. Now we need to do one final thing, and we need to make one other final expression, and we're going to do this. And I'm going to call that additional. Let's see. Additional parts needed. And that's going to be, I'll put it in brackets. Okay, additional parts needed, total parts required for order, and that'll be minus, and we'll put in brackets, units underscore in underscore stock. And then we'll put the bracket. So we're going to add this one other expression. We take the total parts required for the order minus the units in stock. All right. And here we go. Copy this. We're going to go back down to the design view. All right. And we're going to come over here and we're going to copy this in. And let's run it. Okay, it's giving me a parameter error. There was my problem. I should have had an underscore. This will work now. Copy that. You can see again, I still don't want to get this right, do I? Now I think we'll work. Yaha! Yay! Only took 6 hours to do that, huh? All right, here we are. Now we have task 3, and this is now. I would go in, and I would, of course, this is task 3. This is the Haney order. All right, and you know, here's what we need. Okay, and to get the total amount, the total dollar values, and they said they wanted to know and the amount held in inventory, and so we could see the additional parts needed, and we can go back in here to the total parts required for the order, and we can create another field. Haney I'm going to call this Haney cost, okay? And that's going to be total parts required for order. I'll put that in brackets, okay? I'll put that times bracket. And I want to see if it's units, costs. The additional parts needed. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to find out if what we have is the total parts required for the order times, and I'll open this up. Unit cost. underscore cost. Okay, so here's the Haney order, Haney parts cost. This is what it's going to cost us to fill their order. And I'm going to come down in here to the design view. I'm adding on some here. Whoops, pardon me. All right. And if all goes well, we can run the query. And there we are. Now we know the components that are required for the order, the unit we have in stock, so we know the additional parts needed, and then we know the cost, okay, to get those parts, the total cost. And again, I can come in here, okay, and if I'm interested just in the cost, okay, I can do the sum total. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here, additional parts needed. I'm going to put some. Although I'm not going to do that because, well, I'll have it there. What the heck? And I'll go ahead and put the sum. And I'm going to put the sums in for each of these just to make it look right. Okay. So this tells us the cost of the parts, everything we would want to know. And now we can run a report from this. You could, if you chose, take this query, export it into Excel, and then paste it into a document, okay, if you care to. And if you wanted to do some analysis, jockeying around, you know, then if you knew what you're going to sell it for, then you could take the sales price per unit and then subtract the parts cost. We could put Haney retail, which means what we're going to charge them. We can take it, then minus the parts cost, and we know our profit. Okay? But we don't have that, and this is good enough. So you see we've done a little bit more work here. Now we'll open up task, and we'll close this off. So we've done task 3. Okay? All right, and that's task 3. And then task 4, this is at the very bottom. He's Kristen, Eric has heard rumors that Chapin Milling is having financial difficulties. They want to know, they're worried about the rumors, and they need to know how that will impact them. So I want to list all the components supplied by Chapin Milling. Okay, so we're going to look in here. We're going to open it up. All right. And we're going to go down to the design view. This is where we're using the database. It's designed to do. Notice we do part code, part name, and then we use a criteria like, now I'm going to show you this. I'm going to copy it up here so you can see it. Like, now the parenthesis, because we're using a string character, then C. The asterisk says anybody whose name starts after a C, whose name starts with a C. Okay, and that's in the part code, and the asterisk is a wild card. Now we can also put like Cheney and get the same thing. But because we chose to, well, to get the Cheney parts, we're going to have to use this. So that's why it's in there, okay? And this tells us, the parts that Cheney has, that Chapin, excuse me, supplies us with. So we've done task 4. Okay, now we come to task number 5, and we're going to open it up. And task number 5 is at the top of page 185 in the Solve It Student .60 textbook, page 185. They want to print out a listing of the components supplied, and so we've done 4. Now task 5 is engineering wants a list of the components sorted by value. Okay, they want by value, and create a query and print the resulting list. Well, here we are. We got the part name, the part code, and they wanted the sorted by value. Let's go back here into the design view and take a look at this. And you'll see we get the part code, the part name. Okay, that's from the Abraxas Case 3 table. And then we put the unit cost in descending order. In other words, from the largest to the smallest. And there it is. Okay, and that's task number 5. We've created the form. They say suggest any improvements for this. We've already done one of them by making sure that there are no mistakes in terms of the part code or the part name, because we have the ability. We've got this drop-down menu. I can look and see, you know, if someone says I need a 3-foot leg, okay, I know I need to order this part. Okay, so this helps eliminate the guesswork. As I said before, we could you know, create lookups for the numbers, the number of units of that part needed, and then units in stock. Now, another thing we could do is this, and let's go over here and let's look at part. We get the part name lookup, the part code lookup. I want to look at find this one. You know, the Harney parts, the parts cost. And then the Chapin, we could do a report. Again, as you can see, I'm just not much of a fan for the reports, but it's okay. All right, we've made that improvement. We've created a part code lookup and a part name lookup. We also created we see, so we've improved the table, and we did some other things like requirements. We're going to go to the design view of the table, and the part name is required. The part name is part code is required. The name is required. Empire, okay, and that should be required. Classic, it's should be required. Okay, Moderna, same thing there. Craftsman, the same thing there. Okay, units in stock, that is required. And the unit cost, we'll go ahead and make that required. Okay. Okay. And we've changed, like I said, we've changed the data integrity rules, excuse me, because we have to have a figure entered for each of these. Okay. And so what we really would need, we could, if we want, go ahead and do an Empire components lookup table, the same for Classic, the same for Moderna, the same for Craftsman, okay? And we'd have that many more we just had that many more lookup tables. So we'd be looking at talking about a lookup table for Empire, Classic, Moderna, and Craftsman. That's 4 of them, okay? And that would tell us, we could have, and then we could have a unit cost. We could go into unit cost, for example, and I'll show you. We could put in which required, and we could have a validation rule that says, well, we've got the units in stock, so it's not something that we can create as a validation rule. But what we could do would be to go into the unit cost. Let's look at it for just a second. And we could try to do some, well, we've done about all we can do in terms of improving the table. We've improved these tasks over here, these queries. We created a form where we can input data, and away we go. Now, I want to talk with you for just a moment about this, okay? This is what we call a dimensions table. This is a table that's a listing of key attributes. So it's what we call a dimensions table. The part code number, the part name, how many parts are required for Empire, Classic, Moderna, the units we have in stock. This is not a slowly changing dimension. This can change. And the unit cost. Now, we could, if we chose we could choose to update that, but we really shouldn't. That really ought to be done through a form. Okay, and I'm going to show you this here for just a minute. I'm going to open up, all right, and we're at part 8 part code, and that's the 3-foot leg. Here's the name. And instead of 6, all right, I'm going to make this 10. And notice it goes to 10 for Empire. And as you can see, I changed the table. Now, just so you can see it again, I'm going to keep Empire at 6, which is the proper number. I'm going to come over to Moderna, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to come to Moderna. I have the parts name for Empire, and let's see, there's Moderna, and I'll make it 15. And Moderna will change. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know what it was before, 4, 6, or something like that, or 6. Let's make it 6. Craftsman, let's have fun with it. Let's make it a daemon database 666. Okay, and now we've changed. And we've got 60 units in stock, and sticking with it, let's do 666. Okay, you can see how it changed. And I'm going to close this, and I'll go back in and see our table now has been changed. So close that off. And we've learned how to make tables using a query. All right. And you saw how we used the form to input the data. And you've seen we did the reports. I want to show you one other thing finally. They were talking about improvements. I'm not sure how much more we can do for improvements. Okay. I'm going to I'm going to go over here and see if I can get us, if we can do the form that would open up automatically. And let's see, color scheme. Oh, display form. That's the ticket. Click OK. Okay, now watch what happens. I'm going to close it off. And I'm going to go back here to my Abraxas and watch what happens. I open it up, and this form pops up automatically. Okay? Now, if I want to, I can design a form that will open up the table, run that will tell us how many units we have in stock. Well, this form really does it. Okay, and we're going to see. I think we'll see some other forms, but once I've done that, this pops right up. Okay, and I could, if I wanted to, create another blank form and then add in command buttons that would do this. All right, so when I close this off and I open it back up, excuse me, it's there. This is a nice improvement of where we were. Okay, so that'll pretty much do it. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and upload this into the files. And so we've done access case number 3, okay, Abraxas, and I'm going to do files. And I'm going to upload this Abraxas Harmon Keith. I'm going to rename this Abraxas Harmon Keith. Spring 2018. Okay, and there it is, and you can use it. It's published to upload for access case number 3. All right, so we've done that, and just so you know, don't forget, Friday is, of course, Easter is a Good Friday. Please, please, please be very careful if you're going to drive back home. We want to see you back here. And I hope on Good Friday, if you have the opportunity, you'll take some time to worship at the church of your church of your choice. If your church should have if it has a Good Friday service. Again, I've gone to many Good Friday services at churches with our liturgical brethren, and so sometimes it's not a bad idea. Or if your church has its own Good Friday, go there. I think they'll probably have a Good Friday chapel or something at school if you're going to stay there. But no matter what, be safe. And if you don't have a church service to attend, I would recommend that you just simply reflect on our Lord's sacrifice and what that meant, and how important it is. And certainly take some time to read through the gospel accounts of that sacrifice that the Lord made on our behalf. Well, thank you so much. God bless you. And I'm going to stop the share. Okay, and then I'll stop the recording. I'll end the meeting.